turn this up.
So you guys can just go to town. There's some rock.
And then if she, do you want her up just a little bit since you guys are both working on the bottom? And then, oh, sorry. Take her head up. How's that? Well, you're tall. Okay, try that. Or you can get your squats in for today.
I always work like this. Oh, poor girl.
If you guys want them closer to the table so that you can reach or work off the table. Oh, I envy you with that straight hair you're putting it on. What was I gonna make a point of? I don't know.
No, we leave this out on the very bottom.
It's up to you. If she was the person that think about when she pulled her hair back, you're already doing one color here, right? But if she wanted like that light right on the bottom, then yeah. I forgot. I could have just picked her up. So this is the same, like, remember how the foil's not sandwiched on top? This is just giving you that root drag, right? So like my root color, I still did put the foil right on top.
Oh, yeah.
You need a board.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because you're in the bottom, so here, take all these foils and pretend that's your board.
Okay.
And then it is hard because one's on one side. So yeah, why don't you apply the color at the ends first?
Okay.
Backwards, just because you don't have anything covered at the top. Yeah, and then more product. And then let me know if you guys need your decolorizer whips. Here. Anybody need another brush? Well, you're doing that whole triangle. Yep, so you take slices. That's okay, so, was this your triangle? So you can make it just, yes, go, well, you took it all in one. So the only thing I would say about that is you probably have a lot of hair, so it may not process all the way. So that's fine, just skip that one. So, and think about it like this, if you stood in front of her, this is her part line, right? So she's, we're pretending that she was color, right? Or even if she was, and she was, and you were just doing this technique, she would now just have a splatter color right there. That's fine, that would be a peekaboo. If your triangle is up a little bit, you like that hairline now, then she does natural and that should spill over it and top it. Yeah, okay, you would technically, it would be that triangle. So, by the time you get to the top, just like this. Okay, so move this closer to me. So when you use a board, use your body. At least for the first one, yeah. And then when you take it out, put your hand underneath, and then it'll just be easier for you. Like elevation wise. But yeah, you're good. How you guys doing?
tried for 2 people on one head, huh? You guys are doing awesome though.
Okay, so forget that one. Come to this side, because she's already pre-clipped, right? Okay. That's okay. Let's do this. So it's from the highest point of the head. Okay, so there's one. And then your other triangle. So this is how you're going to go on the opposite side. It's so much easier to actually see on the straight than it should just demo on the straight rather than gave it back. So this would be your triangle. So that's the hairline, so you're coloring everything in it. Okay. So like, no, I'm asking you for help. Yep, I got out. That way they have their natural. So then this would be your first piece. Okay. Cool. And then you have to take deeper depending on how you're seeing. So one thing that I wanted to share too is tools. Like, would you guys agree tools are important? Okay, so remember how I said I was a brush snob? I did not used to be a brush snob, and now I am. So we all have different, remember how we all come from our own different tribes, right? So Red King has lots of gear that he can get now. So this, by the way, I just opened this. Where'd I put it? If anybody wants to try it, it's their new balayage brush. It's got rounded edges, so it's easier for application, so that you don't have to angle as much. Now remember, if you're trying to get in a small space, up at the top, notice my narrow brush. Yep. So if you're trying to do fine balayage pieces towards the top, this brush is narrow, so it works really good. This one is also the number one brush that I use for balayaging because it's wide. So this one's great for a lot of product. This one's wide. It also allows you to get more product. One is square, one is rounded. So if anybody wants to try this, when you balayage you can. Then obviously our border brush, our edging brush, and then the paddles. Like I see some of you have your own boards, some don't have boards. This is a balayage paddle for when you have a small section. We also have a balayage board for when you have a big section. But these color boards are nice for when you're doing techniques like this. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It keeps everything clean.
Yep. And it keeps the foil there.
Yeah, in place.
Where do you get these long foils?
Out there.
Oh, okay.
They cost more, so some owners don't like to buy them. But you can tear them to your own length.
Oh,
That's why I
nice.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That works.
Yep. Otherwise, if you only have the short ones, you can put another one in the on top of each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like this. Right? Because her hair is longer. So you can do this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, so then with her, you want her head this way.
So if you were getting the whole head, did you start in your back section first? Because let's say these ones are going to process, but you've done before these ones.
So I pre-section my triangles,
Yeah.
and I put the color all over the entire head. Because would you agree that in this technique, there's not really color in the back? right?
Oh, yeah.
We're basically doing surface layer
Yeah.
or color in front of the ear. So I put my all over color on and then I do my triangles. Because all I have to do is my root color and my lightener. Okay, but if they came in and they weren't getting all over color and I decided to use technique, I still don't have any color in the back. So I'd start on the heaviest side and then I'd go to the shallow side.
Okay. So you roll with this technique, you don't do that.
No, there's no. So that's the hard thing. That's what makes you being a colorist sometimes like an amazing colorist is because you're trying different techniques and just doing what you do on everyone. Right?
Exactly.
But it's getting that client educated. How you doing? Okay, so tip her this way. You're doing good. And plus nothing is on your right, right? And you need the stuff on your right, so let's give you this. Yep, and that was the top of your triangle, right? Yeah. Okay, so now the top section. So then why don't you do it so you let me see this? Or you do one triangle and then he does the other triangle. That works. Just remember, maybe use a little clippy so you mark where the lightener starts, right? So if you were doing it yourself, visually, but with somebody else. Too, just so you can feel it. Yeah. And then if you want to try this one for the lady, just so you can feel them. I think anytime you're doing a technique like this where you have one color into the next color and you're not like balayaging where you're worried about the hair underneath, I love the edgy brush and the blur brush. I feel like it's faster, it's cleaner. Sometimes I think, some people do great with it. I prefer just to use a better brush if I'm trying to shadow.
Conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance, and I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Back on the waist and close that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. Push and pull like a magnet. My heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of when we came, we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about sweet
Try it. It's like the way it feels is so awesome. Do one in mine. You can just play with it up here. Like here. I'm gonna keep this just because I pre-sectioned this, but just take a piece of foil, even though she's not on here.
I like how you put this in here like that.
We'll put that on first. Yeah, or you don't have to, you can just move it. Here's the highlight. Of course, we gave you a short
I like that a lot.
I know, and it's battered.
Oh, I do like it.
That's like my favorite brush right now. And I do, since like I said, I color so much gray hair, like I'm dark, I like to do foils. I have a bigger section, and the top color just goes into the light. So I use this a lot. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 5 more minutes to finish that section. And then if you're already done, see how much lightener you have left because we're gonna do a little balayage. If you don't have enough, we're gonna remix. Which are like I wanted to do the oh, in Tukwila, with May Summer. But he doesn't say sold out, but when I put it on interested to use it, is that the one where you're supposed to be certified? No, do that one before you get certified, because there's a certification coming in like September. We do that. I know one of them they just canceled. I don't know which one it is. There was supposed to be one in Seattle. You could ask up front if they know. Otherwise, you can call their Redfin, that's what it was. Yeah, the 100 number. But I tried to sign one of my specs up for the certification that was supposed to be in Seattle, and she just canceled it. So I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about. It's for, yeah, it preps you with the cancer. I think it's the same thing. But I would call the 1-800 number to double check, just so that I'm not giving you false information. But normally if it's brand, oh yeah, that one's not brand personal on center, so you have to call 1-800. Yeah, I think that one is they always have one here. If it was here, there's always one, normally once a year at the exchange. Yes, I know, because I was signing one of my goals. I think that's the one. Okay, you guys guys almost done? Oh, good. Yeah, you're fine.
So where in Aberdeen do you work?
I work in Astoria.
Alright, where's that?
It's on the Oregon coast.
Okay. Do you commute there every day then?
I just work Friday, Saturday.
Nice.
Right there, down.
That's awesome. That is super awesome. Wait, it's on the coast. Is that the I've heard of it, like absolutely stunning.
Oh, yeah. So
Okay, yeah. That's awesome.
and then I'm actually gonna stop you, and then you guys can do the second one if you want while someone's balayage.
Yep.
Or vice
So
versa.
from me too.
Because we're just gonna practice this method. Okay. So, we're gonna talk just a quick little bit on balayage, really quick. And she doesn't have the paper towels there, so I'm gonna use a foil.
Oh, my hands air dry.
And then who did can I borrow that little one I let you use? Perfect. Okay, so one of the things for expectation was technique or placement. So if you guys took one of our balayage classes, we have a few. We have our modern, we have our Fifth Avenue balayage. And honestly, that's the sectioning that we use a lot in our salon. It's quick, you get a lot of area covered. So basically, and you can find this online also, we pre-section when you're first starting in triangles, okay? So we know Erica parts to the right. So our first section would be done with a small triangle in the fringe area coming to the corner of the eye. So this would be one section. And then the second section would go from the highest point of the head to basically a finger width in between, okay? So if you guys look at that, can you see it kind of leaves what would look like the tip top of another triangle, okay? So this would be my first sectioning. And usually when we first start, I have each stylist clip these individually. Looks a little overwhelming, but visually it helps you really follow where the placement should be. This should make another triangle or what looks like a diamond, okay? So now think about it this way. This has a small point, right? So this will give me more depth right here. So my lightness is gonna come out farther on this triangle. This is gonna be my high points where, now remember, each client's gonna ask for something different, but if I pre-section, if they're the client that wants to see more points of light on top with depth in between, my triangle gave me my pre-sectioning for that. So I could have a point of light here and a point of light here, and if you visually drop that down, the dark is already in between, right? And then my next point of light would be the top of this triangle and the back of that triangle, okay? So I'm just gonna section these really quick. I did the underneath one earlier just so you could visually see. And then I kind of passed out my pin curl clips, so don't mind if these fall out. So then you would wind up basically mimicking that all the way down. So here would be another triangle.
And you like to section all these before you start?
When I first started, I always sectioned, and partially because I didn't really think about when you first start doing something, you don't really know what the end result is gonna be. So it's better to pre-section, do it a few times, and then you can play with it or tweak it to your own liking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Okay, so I already did one on the bottom. I'm technically leaving out her hairline, so this would be my first section. Then I would work my way up to my next triangles. So I'm a lefty, so I always stand on my left side, okay? if I'm gonna make a skinny point of light through the top, now remember, this chick doesn't have clean, smooth hair, so does it make it more work for me? Yes. So we're just gonna roll with it. So I'm gonna get just a little bit of product on my brush. I'm standing on the left side, so if you guys wanna move around. When I like the points of light to be up higher, I start at the top, okay? Then I find my focal point on where I want the heaviest amount of color, which I'm gonna use her chin. On average, most of our focal points are gonna be our chin and our eyebrow, okay? Now I'm gonna get a little more color. And now I'm gonna make this slightly angled. Why would I do that? Yep, and because that point of light went up higher, right? So I would like the depth sitting back in front of it. Now I'm gonna get my paddle, and I'm gonna come in with the paddle pointed to the head so I don't create a line. Here's my other point of light. Now this is lower, right? And I have space in between, so I'm gonna put color up here. Okay, now this is the end of my left section, right? So it runs into my back quadrant, which is my crown area. So if she wants a darker root, should I bring the color way up here? No. Good. Okay, now she says, Leanne, I really, really, really want this to be extra light. Does anybody want to hand me a foil since I gave out the rest of those long ones? I really want this to get as light as possible today. Okay, we're gonna get you there. Now I'm gonna switch to my bigger brush because I can get more product, right? Normally I'd be using a board underneath, but I handed that out too. You guys came so prepared today. They need to make sure they send the list.
Yes.
And then I would not fold it. I would take another foil and I'd make a sandwich. That's okay, thank you. I want you guys to be able to use those so you see what they feel like. And now we'd sandwich it, right? So now this isn't gonna come out as light as this, right? Because this doesn't have heat on top of it. But basically I'm lightening the ends and I'm getting more, I'm still taking a balayage section. Now, I'm gonna give you one more hypothetical because I like to throw little gems out there. So here would be my next one. I'm gonna apply this one just a little bit different. I'm gonna pat where I want my heaviest amount of color, okay? Which is like my eyebrow. Now I'm only gonna have my point of light come right in the middle.
And that's because it's the diamond-shaped one, correct?
Yep, and my point of light right here is
Yes.
going up higher, and that one's going up just a little bit higher. Why are you recording in class? I'll tell you in a second. I love it. Okay, so how many of us have to color roots and lighten at the same time? Is it slightly annoying? Yeah, okay. Does it always come out as light as we want? Oh, hello. Sorry, Erica. I just threw that on your other section. Okay, so we're going to pretend that Erica came in and I had to cover her gray and I had to highlight her at the same time. And she said, I really want those pieces on top to be as light, as my ends get. Can that happen when I have color here?
Do your foil first.
So I'm not actually doing my foil first because she wants it to look like a balayage, but what I'm gonna do is find out for sure where she wants her points of light, like the brightest pieces. So I make sure I find her like where she is parting at, and I'm gonna take this little top guy, this little top guy, this little top guy, and this little top guy. This is my baby light, okay? So now, right off of her part, because she's that client that has to have that as light as everything else. Sorry. I'm gonna put in her baby light, okay? Now, this could be like, well, it can't be high lift because she has her old color here, but this could be like up to 7 with 20 volume, right? Because say I'm using flash lift with 30 on her ends. This way they process right about the same. So I would put that in my foil. Now the very top of her part will be it can be just as light as the rest. And she won't have to complain that it looks warm.
Do you have people who ask directly, like, I want this lightness right exactly here?
Well, I always explain, I only have 2.5 hours for you, and we have to color you and balayage you. So if I do them simultaneously, like, I'm just really honest. I say if we do them simultaneously, like, basically I'm putting color on, I'm trying to eat through the color with the decolorizer. It's not the same as putting the decolorizer down here. So it's gonna be a little warmer than your ends. Are you okay with that? And they're like, no, I want it light, like right up to the top. Do you want it to look like a foil? Because I could foil it. And they're like, no, I want it to look like a balayage, but I want it light. So that's how we get to figuring out where we put the little foil packets. So now the blonde that's on the top of that book right there, that's all about our blonde. We have a baby lights class, but basically you're gonna do those in the whole head and then you're gonna balayage underneath, okay?
Oh.
And you would do that right up parallel to that part? You wouldn't
Yeah,
come
so
at it
like
at an angle
now
or-
this is a little tiny baby light and I have root color on, right? Because I already applied that. I'm gonna have a very tiny little space right there, okay? Because this is gonna sit basically right against it.
And blend it,
Yep, because if I went right to the scalp, that piece would be what?
like orangey.
Well, it'd be so big,
Yeah.
right? I don't want it to look like a big chunk, I still want it to be soft. So when you balayage, a lot of people balayage like this. It's actually easier to stand on the side that you are so you can really get on top of your section. Especially we're doing so many precise, like with our blondes these days, everything is so precise where we put the pieces and where they're painted and where they see their points of light. So it's easier if you can stand on the side and then move around. Once you get to the ends, now you need more pressure, so now you stand behind your section. Cool? Okay, anybody learn anything? Okay, so whip up your decolorizer if you have any left, and then any tools you want to try, like these brushes, or if anybody wants to try what the new balayage feels like, just find, yep, you can try that one. Just find an area you haven't done yet, or like on the fine side of your triangle, try to section out the 2 triangles I just showed you and apply the product there.
Okay.
Would you ever use your edging brush on a placement like that, or do you only do that when you're blending?
I only do the edging brush if I'm using like a board and a foil. And usually it's always with 1 or 2 or 3 colors. And part of it is they're so fat, they're made to go all the way through. So when we're doing this, yeah, it's almost like too much brush for that section. Perfect. Good question. Okay, how am I videotaping it? I'm actually, I watch myself.
Oh.
Yeah, partially. I videotaped their class too. Like, the class I taught last week was brand new to me. I'd never taught it. And they give us a format we have to follow. And so then I watch and I'm like, oh, that flow is really off. So if I have to teach it again, it kind of helps me. And then sometimes all our opening things, like the outcome results, we always have to do that. So I send that to my boss so she can critique me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of music. It's 1:01, so let's take the next 20 minutes just to try anything we want, and then we'll clean up and debrief. Cool?
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, here, you can have these ones back. And somebody can use this board if they still want it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna whip this up for you. And if she put paper towels in there yet, I will walk around and clean your brushes so that they're
No, where do you buy those at? Online. Well, I'm in Hong Kong, like, starting last month.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I like them. They're so versatile. Yeah.
I have not used that before.
Yeah.
That's why I'm drinking this one now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you my lighter, okay? Actually, I'll give you guys just a little more since you're sharing.
I'm like psycho. How do you spell that? F-R-A-N-R-A. From R.
So I got the two dining sets.
Okay, boil it, have it. He was like, yeah.
Do you want to do this one?
No, it's okay, I'll walk you.
That's it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, these two triangles.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna give you guys those brushes. Beautiful. Here, you want mine? Sure. And then, you know what,
Yeah.
are you a lefty or a righty? I can't
I'm a
remember.
righty.
Okay, so here,
Yeah.
I'll put some of that in this bowl for you.
No, I don't use this knife as much. I just use like normal size ones. They're this size. But their brushes are just like soft.
Okay.
So we start with the top one. Amazing.
We start.
On the top?
So like, since you only have the room for those three,
Yeah.
do this one first.
Okay.
So put those out of the way. Good question.
I mean, you can buy this.
Yep, and you can always attach it to the top of that.
Yeah.
No, I'm supposed to be over here.
Yep, because you're a righty. You can move that table a little bit though. Ah, what? Is he gonna attack you? Maybe turn it lower.
It was really low. Just too low. I'm just gonna go really fast.
So that's your, I'm not sure if that's the diamond one. or
Yes, it is. Because you're trying on
So if it's the diamond, you really.
Yep, so, and visually look at it like this, you don't think about this, right, it's green, right? So you don't wanna go all the way up, you wanna like right through there. Okay. What are you? So try this. Yeah. Stand over here. Okay. Hold it. Yep. Yep, right, well, right about there. And then you hold a fat brush. So let me find you a,
You're not skinny.
okay, but let me wipe it off. Okay. Okay, now try.
That's right. I forgot about the white one.
Well, yeah, you just don't want too much product.
Yeah, like that.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, good.
Yep, just call me there. And log or Hey,
Yep.
girl, you are on it. Well, I just made my hair one like in the summer.
Nice.
Well, that one is a little runny, and I think you have lots of fries. So like, think about, it's just, well, and you have a big brush now too.
Yeah.
So then you can use more product, so redip,
Read it.
yep, and then pat, there you go. And so when you're on the side like that, try having your brush this way, yep, good.
Never done here before.
And then just make sure you're blended good.
Great.
Good. And then now grab your board.
Okay.
Yep, and always put in where you want it to come through, so more like right there. Yep, yep, so now you can add more. Good. Yes,
Maybe lights refer to like a really fine heat, right?
very tiny. Like, think about when we were in school and we learned micro stitch. Super tiny, fine. More just for light reflection and little lightness.
More reading, more like, just, like it's a buzzword, so I was just noticing people's like,
Yeah.
leaves being like bigger, but they're still calling it baby lights, so I didn't know if it was like where you put it.
Or, nope, it's just how small it is. Or like, if you look at a lot of, celebrities that are blonde, like, Gwyneth Paltrow. So you know how heavy she is, but then it looks like she has a root drop, but then she has some to the scalp. So she's a balayage, and then she has baby lights and a root drop.
And a root drop. What is a root drop?
That means like when everything is already light, and you go back in and apply color to the scalp area.
And then melt it down.
Yes, but you're not melting it very far. It's basically like using a short bristle brush, yeah, a shadow.
Okay.
So a lot of times when we do a root drop, we use these short bristles because you have less amount of color and then you can feather it out. Yep, and when you do it, there's no right or wrong, just start wherever you feel the most comfortable. And your touch is great.
Okay.
Yep. And then always just remember, like, this is your sectioning, right?
Okay.
So when you start your points of light out farther, it won't go all the way to the scalp, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here and then just near
Yep, so I remember how we
Yeah.
talked about the
Okay.
corner of the eye. So
Okay.
most people like it, the heaviest amount of color
Yeah.
to be like right here.
Okay.
Yep, and so then turn your brush the other way.
Okay.
Yep, and so basically pat,
Position bar.
pat, yep.
Yep, there you go.
Good coaching.
I was just remembering what you.
getting it.
It makes it a lot easier.
It does.
'Cause-
Body positioning is
Mhm.
like everything.
It really made a big difference when
Yeah.
you taught me that. I was like,
Good.
wow.
I know, cause look how nice those are.
Yeah, not too bad.
Are you, you're a righty, so
Yeah.
you'd be on the other side.
It's very flat.
And then
Yeah,
this
you
would be
want the
closer to
atoms
you.
to be very heavy.
And so you're starting out farther, which
Yeah,
is
very
fine.
saturated.
So see what
Right
happens when
there.
you go
And
up.
as you get down lower, you
Yeah.
can bring the hair down.
Feel like
Yeah, so there's no,
And
I
then
try to
that's
tell
when
people
you-
there's no
now
right
you
or
go
wrong way, because
here.
everybody comes from their own tribe.
Right.
But there's an
Yeah, then you
outcome,
can hold it, then you
right?
really
So
tap
if
it
you
all
want
the
this
way.
to be kind of a little,
So like if you look
blurry.
underneath, you see
Yeah.
nothing here, but
so
Okay.
normally
you
if I
just
want to
decide where
actually
you
see
want
the
the
color to
height,
be
I start at the
tone.
top and come down. If I'm trying to blend it and or blur it, then I feather up.
Okay, so that is what I was thinking, so going up
Yeah,
is
awesome.
the right way to do it.
Yes, but just make
Versus
sure,
a distinct line where I'm just laying it like.
yep, just make sure you don't have any holes in
Right.
between.
So it's
Nice.
Yep.
And then I
Good,
feel
that
like
looks better.
when these little things happen, they just dry up and fine.
It'll be fine. Good, now try this, move over there a little more. So bring this, so if you're a righty, stand over here, so you're on top of your section. Once you get where you're trying to do the most amount of color, stand, you're bringing the color to you, then stand behind your section. But when you want the color to live on top, be on top of your section. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, those are always. And then always remember
It's
to
actually
try to
fun
be
to get into.
on top
Yeah.
instead of the
Cause
side.
you really feel like.
Really?
Yes. Well, because that's, think about gravity is gonna pull the hair down, right? So if you're painting over here, you don't really see that, right? So the point of the ball is for the color
And the
to
more
live
you're
on
like
top,
this,
with
Yeah.
the
you're
depth
gonna
in
do it
between.
right.
Not the color to live on the
Yeah.
side, you
makes
see less of it.
It's almost like.
You don't have to take it off.
Well, but then, alright, I guess I made it my own way of doing this.
It's okay.
Weird thing, so then I would come back through and kind of blend with my finger at the very end and blend underneath, because I feel like when I wear hat, I'll get like a line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the tricky part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of take my hands and smooth it all the way back.
It's totally fine. If that works for you, do it good. When you smooth it, you basically just put the product on your through, which is fine. Usually that's what we do. We want the maximum lightness.
Fine.
I'm more,
Or versus
like,
more
this,
depth
learning
in the
this part
middle
is so much
and
more
all the
fun to
pop
me.
at the bottom.
And this part.
So
I
think
know
about
I get.
Yeah.
This is
the
the
reason
part.
behind the balayage,
Yeah.
right? Is so that there's more color coming into a pop of
Right.
color.
Right.
So when you take the whole thing, you're almost doing like what would be considered like an ombre. That whole section gets the color all the way through. And when you wave it, more depth in through here creates more dimension and
More
texture
separate
into the pop.
too.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just think about like if she's super solid, like super solid, how you're doing
Yeah.
it is
You take
great.
like one of
If
these
she's that
classes,
client that you
you'll-
see
she'll
more
do more in depth
dimension,
with positioning.
it's heavy at the bottom, but there's more
Yeah.
dimension.
Way
Don't
more.
drag it
Cause
through
I
all
took a
the
class
way,
on
because
that.
the dimension
Yeah,
comes
that's
from this
hard.
part not being colored.
Yeah.
I would create that by dropping this out.
Yeah, we took one other class, but it
But what if
was,
last year
it was
was
a
here?
different instructor.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So
Oh, they're
she
all
showed us how to
solid?
paint it on, but she didn't explain
No, here, I'll show you a
why.
picture.
Yeah.
You keep
Do
following.
it up in just the
Actually, I'll show you at the end.
Yeah.
That way we can move on.
Balayage.
No, it's good. Okay, so does anybody need more time? That looks amazing. That looks awesome. Good job. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes to just clean up our bowls and then we'll regroup together. Cool? So we can wash here and we don't have any colors, so we can rinse in the restroom also. We can rinse.